You better not live in Roseland. You live in Roseland. She don't even want a rose from you.
Man.
Okay.
Oh. Tell it like it is.
Wow. Women lying about their occupation and their geographical location.
Mm-hmm.
Your occupation and your
Geographical location.
You
Absolutely.
are lying about it.
Yes.
Wow. Wow.
All right. Perfect. There we go. Fuck you assholes. I hate you. Bye. All right. Let's go. All right.
Meh.
All right. Who gonna do? What you gonna do?
Introductions first. I think we need to introduce our executive coordinator, administrator, client Patel, audio engineer.
I ain't do a really good job. I ain't gonna lie. This is my first and last day.
Fail. First and last day.
Fail.
Fired.
All right. Go ahead.
All right, what's up, guys? Thank you for tuning in to the Life of Double A channel. I got some special guests here today. Let's introduce ourselves. Let's run around the room. To my right, introduce yourself. What's going on?
Me, him? Oh, you mean me? Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
you.
I mean, technically, we're
You
both
person,
to your
who
right.
you be?
We're
Tell 'em
technically
who you
both to the right. All right.
Oh,
Anyway,
yeah. Okay.
I'm Will.
Hi, Will. Thank you for coming.
Oh yeah.
Podcast today.
Hey, Will, what do you do? Can you tell us about your occupation and your geographical location?
I fix computers.
Oh, you fix things. You fix technology?
Yeah,
What you do?
I fix technology.
Fix computers. That's interesting.
What do I do? Shit. I don't know. I'm a software dev by trade, fractional CTO. I look cute on the camera at WSC Tech. Brought to you by Aaron as well. You're on there as well.
Thank you.
And yeah, I look dumb on the podcast like I'm doing right now. And that's it.
Appreciate it. Glad to hear it. Azariah, how you doing?
You look
Tell us a little
good on the
about
podcast,
yourself.
by the way.
Thank you. I wish they can see it.
Azariah Hill, man. Geographical location.
Oh, I forgot about
Geographical
that.
location?
Shit.
You forgot the
Go ahead,
geographical
go ahead.
location part.
Chicago.
Chicago.
Go Chicago.
Okay.
Are you really in Chicago, though?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know how some people be. They be like, I'm from Chicago, and they really in,
Yeah.
Mokina.
Yeah.
Schaumburg.
Schaumburg,
That's
right.
the worst. How you say you from here? You from Chicago? You from Chicago land?
Just be honest with me. It's okay.
Come on,
Don't
it's
judge.
all
It's a
right.
free
You
zone.
still know.
Yeah, man. We're happy to be here. Happy to be on the show. Happy to make a lot out of a little. And you know, have a good dialogue with these great gentlemen in front of me.
Yes,
So
sir.
let's do it.
Let's do it. All right, so I brought you guys here today because I want to talk about a very interesting, controversial topic. I want to talk about corporate culture in 2024 that needs to be canceled this year.
Oh, yes.
You know, we all work, in the corporate world. I feel like we all have experienced, similar things that we've talked about in side conversations. And I just want to dive a little bit further into some of those experiences that we're having, that we're going through this year. What are some things that you guys feel that we can leave in 2024 and move forward with some changes in 2025? I think we were talking about earlier about meetings,
Yep.
like meetings, for example, that could have just been emails.
Yep.
I think we all experienced, we all use the Teams and the Slack, of how they want to set time aside, in between your working hours, in order to meet. Which me personally, I feel like is a little way to kind of still monitor you.
Absolutely.
So, do you guys have any experience with that, or any gripes with that? Any concerns? Any issues?
I think you may need to bring up the list.
Bring up the list.
Got a list. Before you do that, it kind of sucks because it's like we're, all right, so structure, right? You're CEO. You're the face of the company. CEO don't know what the most minute person does on a day-to-day basis, especially the bigger the company gets. So I think we need to normalize the CEO being present in front of the lower management or the lower I don't want to say people in a totem pole like they're like rats or something, but like, people who are entry level, people who work day to day at this company, they don't know who their CEOs are. Honestly, they probably got the job knowing just who the manager is, but they don't know like the mission objectives. They don't know all the people at the top because quite frankly, like most CEOs, they're just worried about fixing ish and getting in more revenue or making the company look more better than what it is. So that's my want when it comes to corporate. What was the question? The
So you
corporate
want more like corporate presence, like you
corporate
want some
pre-
more hands-on,
yeah,
Visibility.
You
leadership
don't want to
presence.
have that feeling of separation anymore. Like I'm up here, you're
Absolutely,
down there. That's good. I agree with that.
yeah. Because do you know you're at CEO?
What I will say, I'll speak to that actually. Yeah, so he's Jay McKee right now. But what I will say is the guy who we had before, he was kind of doing what you were saying. He was a lot more personal. So maybe that this guy will do the same. But time will tell with that. But I will say I do see a lot more in startup like companies.
Yeah,
They tend to care about that more. They tend to be a little bit more internal and personable with their employees, and we're same thing as like big corporations. Same thing when they told us when we would go to when they go to college. You go to a bigger school. Some of our parents would say like, "Oh, go to a mid to small school. You'll get more attention. You'll get more of that structure, that more of that one-on-one attention
Hands-on
and
training.
hands-on training, right, and whatnot." And I feel like it's the same in the the business and the workforce. It's like the bigger the company is. Sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes the bigger the company is, you kind of just
yeah,
become a number and you kind of can get lost. So you have to do extra in order to stand out.
yep, absolutely. Azariah, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a great topic. And I agree with all of those sentiments, man. I feel like the logistics of a business in the masses, right? We talk about a large business. You almost have to have that hierarchical structure, right? Like it has to be like quote unquote a higher power, right?
Yeah,
Because like the lead can't, like the blind can't follow the blind, right? Somebody has to have the vision. Somebody have to have like this big idea, and then other people have to actually execute the job.
yeah,
Um, I do agree that CEOs, CFOs, I mean business owners, executives, whatever you want to call it, should interact with their tier one or entry level employees.
Okay.
But I will also say, in that same breath, how do we delineate how often a CEO is supposed to be in front of my tier one and entry level employee, and how much should I be entrusting in him to have the next vision or the next big idea so that I can keep my job? So it's two things. Am I more interested in me interacting with my CEO, or am I more interested in the bottom line and making sure that I'm progressing the company so that I can have a job?
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
what am I looking forward to, right? And when I'm thinking about myself, I want the best of both worlds, right? I would love to have that visibility. I would love to have that interaction with my CEO, but in the same sense, I want him to, since he built the company.
yeah,
This guy is brilliant. This guy is smart. His guy has vision. I want you to continue to pour into yourself to bring out more vision, bring out more creativity. And I don't know where that time should be allocated. To be honest with you, I don't know like the answer to this amount of time to be should be in front of X, and this is the amount of time I should be inventing and simplifying and creating the next big thing so that I can make sure my company is thriving and that my employees are successful and can feed their families.
I'll say this: when I was at Microsoft, one of the things every month that we did is town halls, and so town halls really
I
help.
just facilitated one today, actually.
Oh, did
I
you?
did for my director. It's
Very
pretty
nice.
cool.
Very nice. I say those are really good when it comes to upward visibility and outward visibility from the company. And when you bring in more people to collaborate and contribute, it brings more. Okay, well, I got something to look forward to when I'm going to work. But for sure, if you're a CEO, the more someone has presence into your doing, like what are you doing? Because at the end of the day, right, the CEO, we report to the CEO in a way, but it's actually a reverse triangle where the CEO reports to every single person. His responsibility is everyone's. He needs to make sure he reports to every single entity because at the end of the day, he's a spokesperson for the company. Andy Jassy, spokesperson for the company.
Yep.
I don't know your guy, I ain't gonna lie. Satya Nadella, spokesperson for the company. So if they're visible in these town halls, if they're visible in these quarterly business reviews, more companies will thrive a little better, but also employees will give a shit going to work because they're like, the CEO saw my report. I got buy-in. I just talked to the CEO of Amazon. I just talked to the CEO of Microsoft, the C3PO of XYZ company. It's like it gives them more encouragement to actually work. And then combined with that, if you're vested, so stocks, incentives, bonuses, you want to work hard. At least I do. I'm in sales. I think, Aaron, you talked about looking into it, but one of the things about sales is like the more money you bring in, the more interest that you have also in, because you just want to I want to fucking do it. So
yeah, that kind of segues into the next topic of like, do you feel that in this age now that there's kind of like a shifting of power and control between boss and employee? So I'll kind of set up the groundwork of that. Let's go back a little bit, a couple years before COVID happened, and then obviously COVID happened, it came and went. But right when it hit, there was this influx of everyone realizing like, how are we still going to work with capacity limitations and being safe. So they implemented working from home, remote work, things like that. Even place like company like Google said, "Oh, we'll be remote forever."
Yeah.
We'll stay at home, work, production. We'll still give you your benefits, et cetera, et cetera. But also during that time, while employees are able to be at home, they're also able to think more, and they're thinking like, "Hey, wait a minute, I can do the same job when the companies wanted you to come back, into office." It's like, well, why do I need to come back in the office? I can do the same job, same
value.
work, same, effort, and I can go work somewhere else that doesn't require me to come in. So how do you feel about, number one, like this mandatory return to office, the administration, the Biden administration, everything like that, requiring the 3 days. Some companies even want you to come fully, into the office. And it's caused actually a lot of employees all around especially in the tech world to say, no, I don't want to do that. I'll go work somewhere else. I'll quit. I'll sit back. We also know from, during COVID, they were given the extra, bonuses and the surpluses of people staying home. Some people were making more money than they were when they were, working. So a lot of people had more options than ever before.
Yeah.
They called this era like the Great Resignation, basically, of people just mass quitting.
Yeah.
Because they had more options and more control. And now we see like there's this back and forth now of employees are, well, I want this. If I'm going to come back into office, I need this. We need more activities.
Yep.
We need more town halls. I need to have more say into company changes, things like that.
Yeah, I would start off. I would say like, don't judge my process, judge my productivity, right? Like the process, you can say, hey, I need you in the office, I need you out of the office. The process could say, I need you 3 days a week, I need you 5 days a week. Regardless of the fact, what's been consistent was the productivity. Whether I'm in office for 3 days a week, I got great productivity. Whether I'm in the office for 5 days a week, I have great productivity.
Yeah.
So if I can show you that I can work just as hard from being in office from 5 days to 3 days, and I'm telling you as my employer that I'm more invigorated, I'm more excited, I'm more encouraged if I get these 3 days
Yeah.
in office and 2 days at home to spend with my family, to take care of my kids and do X, Y, and Z. Because now not only are you recruiting me, but you're also retaining me, right? Now I see that I see a lot of value. I'm clearly a strong proponent from working at home. But I will say this on the contrary. I had the privilege of going to Google, and you just made the comment about Google being able to be remote.
Yeah.
I had the privilege of going to Google, and I saw that Google had such a great incentive that they fed their employees breakfast, lunch, and dinner in office. And I'm not talking about hot dogs and sandwiches. I'm talking about burgers and fries, chicken tenders. I'm talking about Mediterranean food, like food that you will actually go spend
Shit
your own
worth
money
going
on.
to.
Like you're motivated to come to work, right? And I think once you set this type of atmosphere, once you show as an employer that you're going to be there for your employees to do these incentives. I'm talking free snacks, gum, Snicker bars. I love Snicker bars. So you give me some free Snicker bars, dude, I'm sold in. So it's like I saw this and it just really hit me. Like I work at Amazon, man, in corporate, and we don't have that incentive. Now I haven't been hit with the mandatory business of having to go into office, gratefully. But everyone that has been with the 3 days a week and some even probably full time in a fulfillment center, right? Like I think that you will go I think you'll go much more further if you gave some type of incentive based off the productivity opposed to that process.
Now, have you always been remote? Like even before this company, have you at one point where you had to normally like work in office?
Oh no, yeah. I've had the best of both worlds. So I come from ops, supply chain.
Okay.
So I worked in the fulfillment center as a manager, right?
Oh,
so I've
okay,
worked
okay.
the 10-hour shifts. I got up early in the morning
Yeah.
and did the entire 9. So I know what the grind feels like. And then gratefully I've been able to go to corporate and I got to see the complete opposite of working from home, being able to be on a call, then brush my teeth right afterwards, be on another call and wash the dishes, right? So it's like I've seen my own productivity. I seen how grateful I was in that experience. Not only am I in ops, I was at a point where I was like, man, I need to look at another career. You're working me like a slave, baby. This is 2020, what was it, 1 at the time. But when this opportunity came in, I think you also said something really important. You was talking about how prior to COVID and now, where you call it the great resignation, because people have something called opportunities, right? Other people are seeing what Microsoft is doing and Google are doing. And once we have this big platform for us to see all these other opportunities that we have, it's kind of like you have to raise the bar a little bit higher now, because now you're not retaining me. So I would say that I do you're talking from a guy from experience, right? Seeing best of both worlds. And I think that I see more value in working remote opposed to working in office physically.
Yep. And I agree with Azzy. There's a study that Microsoft did that, employees want a reason to go in the office, right? You said food, right? They want to go, they got food. Adjacent to that, other coworkers that they really like to work with, they're there. And it could be things that are more hard and concrete, like the food that they offer that is an incentive that the employers need to kind of like ensure that they're consistently doing. And there's other soft things, right? Like maybe, events that are going on or different talks or just in general, right? They have a reward to going into the office. And, sometimes, we lose sight of that, because back before 2019 and beyond, it was about just going into the office and remote work was kind of unheard of in a way. But COVID definitely spoiled us in a way, because it's like now we're realizing, we don't need to go in the office. We can just, like you say, chill at the house and do this stuff. But playing devil's advocate too, I will say, when you think about it from a business perspective, we do have, you got an obligation to these places, and sometimes, they've brought in so many employees and they brought so much real estate that damn, well, people aren't coming in at all. So it's
Mm-hmm.
just like, well, they kind of got to force them to. And that's not the best way to do it. So what I would say in advance, right, like you say, doing an incentives, having events, making that reward process being heard and being seen so that employees want to go in the office and they
Yeah.
want to contribute. Me personally, 3 out of the 5 days mandated would suck. But I do see myself going into the office a lot because I like connecting with people,
Yeah.
working. And ultimately, in my career, I like the progression. If I know more people in my job and I'm working with them, then that means I'm building a rapport with them beyond work. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you may go to a happy hour, you may hang out, but it's just like you can't just do that remotely. But also, in the same time, you can also build your network and stuff beyond that. So it's just a risk. It's like a reward thing back and forth. But ultimately, looking forward, everybody needs to implement some type of hybrid
Yeah.
work schedule where you like have a you have a plan to bring everybody into work, whatever, but they also have the option to not work at home. They can come in, like have a hot seat. You can come to your office, do your thing, then go back home. Or just flexibility in the day. Maybe I work during the day, half the day at home, half the day at work. So
Yeah.
So do you feel like this is like gonna be part of the future going forward? That a lot of companies will permanently implement kind of like this hybrid work lifestyle, or do you think that
100%.
eventually everyone will want the way basically how it was at old, everybody, coming in an office, working 9 to 5, being there 8 to 5? Like, do you think that's gonna ultimately
Nah.
change, or we're kind of going into like basically COVID has like changed the way we view and we implement like working conditions and experience where we're gonna go
Yeah.
either the full remote route or some type of hybrid formation, because there is some pushback on the other side. There are some corporations that have like they want all their employees to come back, and they want them to come back 5 days a week,
Yeah.
and it's causing a lot of rifts in certain companies and I've personally experienced that with even what's going on now is there's a lot of even upper management people that are not enforcing the mandated 3 days in the office and stuff. So what do you
That's so
do? Do you
dumb.
lose
Some
some? Go ahead.
some fat old jerk telling you to come in the office and when his ass eating a big pot of I don't know, some not eating soup or apple or something at home, talking about some, yeah, y'all need to get back into work.
Yeah, that's true
Yeah,
too.
I hate
Because
what
it's
you
like,
preach.
are you losing a little bit of respect or credibility? You got your director of whatever operations or whatever telling you have to come in, and then your subordinates aren't doing it, and they're basically calling you your bluff. Like, you can fire
Well,
me, you can lay
I
me off.
think from the end of time, right, that we've always had your haves and have-nots, right? There's always a manager, always back to slavery. There's somebody who's going to be over you.
Yeah.
You're quote unquote inferior to somebody,
Yeah.
right? I just looked up the quick stat, and the 5 days a week thing started in 1908, right? So it's like I don't know if I'm able to say that we will completely go away from working 5 days a week. I think we've made small strides there, but we haven't strived for it, right? So I think that since that started in 1908, and because we ran into a pandemic in 2020, I'm not confident for the masses that the 5 days a week will change. Now I do think that it made a big difference for many different people, right? Specifically people in corporate, people that they have degrees and that is educated and actually probably have some large skill, right, to be able to say, hey, I'm worth more than this. I can
Yeah.
go somewhere else for better. I think for the majority though, right? For the people that don't unfortunately have that education, I think there's still superiors that's telling people that, hey, I want you to work 5 days a week. I want you to work 8-hour shifts or 10 for some. And they're going to listen to it because they feel like that they don't have any other options because the lack of thereof as far as education. So I think at the mid level and at the high level, things will change. right? But I think for the great majority, we will unfortunately still see a Monday through Friday. We'll unfortunately still see night work, whatever it takes for that business to thrive. And since 1908, the superiors, the directors, the executives, and the CEOs are saying it takes 5 days.
How do you feel about what was your experience with the mass layoffs that were going on recently this past year?
Oh man, hitting home now.
It's hitting home. Like
Sucks.
friends, left and right,
Man.
being called in to the room, the HR office, like
Not even logging in, and you can't even log in.
oh yeah, they
Yeah.
take your access, they take your card,
Oh.
and you wondering like, hey, wait, and no, just don't worry about it, just answer this Zoom call,
Restart
at
your
12.
computer.
It's a
Oh yeah,
nightmare.
that's the worst.
Yeah,
That's
It's
the
a
worst.
nightmare. It's a nightmare, man.
Yeah, it sucks.
Well, I'll tell you, man. I remember like it was yesterday, January 18th, specifically for AWS, Amazon Web Services. January 18th, 2023, we laid off 27,000 people. By far the
Talk
worst
about
day.
it.
The worst day in Amazon since I've been there. I've been there for 3 years now.
man.
It's interesting because literally 5 months prior to that, I was at an event called Afrotech where I was actively recruiting college students to work at this phenomenal, brilliant, glorious company. And here we are, five months later. I'm guessing if I will even have my job, right? And I'm seeing my peers get laid off, and I'm seeing people that just had a baby get laid off, a guy that just had a promotion get laid off, right? I think for me personally, it hit home to identify like this job can't be my God. This job can't be my only source of happiness. This job can't be my only source of income. This job can't be my only source of X. And I
Right.
think for a lot of times, man, we put a lot of pressure on our occupation. I mean, we was talking earlier about even like what you do for work, if that
Yeah.
hold up to be true.
Yeah.
But man, I think it's crazy, and I think it really just boils down to one thing, and that goes to the bottom line. At the end of the day, people are gonna do what's best for them, and these corporate companies, these CEOs, that's exactly what they did. They did what was best for the business. They did what was best for their bottom line. They did what was best for the process and not best for the people. And I think it shows us, right, the employees, that we need to prioritize ourselves. We need to prioritize our mental health. We need to prioritize our next move. We need to have more source than our job as that source.
Right. Yeah.
I just want a Lambo and drive my ass down the street. I don't give a fuck about working.
Hey, I like that.
You know what I'm saying?
I need to be sitting passenger Prince.
Right.
Passenger Prince. I like
Passenger
that.
Prince.
Yeah, write that down. I gotta keep that.
Yeah.
That also segues into another topic, and I actually want Will right here to actually go into this, and that's another thing that major milestone that happened during COVID is the arrival of ChatGPT.
Yeah.
And now we have what's called just fairly recently AI Sora. Will, could you go in on that a little bit?
Yeah.
What is that?
What is Sora? So
What is Sora?
So back to ChatGPT. So, the reason why it's on 4 right now, because there was, prior versions of it. And, you can always Google it and figure out what the hell it is. But essentially, it's a project that, OpenAI has built that essentially takes a conversation that you have with the machine and turns that into understandable output, right? It could be a chat box. It could be information. It could be essentially whatever you want it to. You can tell it to damn near write your homework or business plan and easily. And so with that intelligence engine, it's been modified over time to be a lot more intelligent, understand different languages, understand programming, understand multimedia.
Yeah.
And I think we heard of certain things happening with it where there are other ethical things. And there's a lot of things to kind of consider. But going back to the Sora portion of things, Sora is a really interesting tool that I really wish I could get my hands on. Basically, the same power that you have to understand, the human languages and tell it to do a certain specific instruction as you would a program.
Yeah.
You can do that same thing to generate visual images. And then this one could be written to do actual videos. So they had one before, which was, Dolly 3, Dolly 2, I'm sorry, and then they got the other ones. But that generated images based off of text, and you can tell it to train off certain models, and it'll generate certain images. And then you can draw in a specific area, say, hey, I want a bird right here. Damn, got a damn bird right there. It's crazy. So now you got production grade quality, generally speaking, production grade quality videos. It's not perfect, but it enables the smaller person to really produce quality engineered content. And before, it would have taken a whole production, right? A videographer, maybe even an action person, cinematographer, and a story.
Yeah.
And, I love it because, when you think about, the internet and having computers, and even like how we digitize libraries, how we digitize all of these things. Honestly, the reason why I'm so good at programming ain't because I cracked open a physical hardcover book. I went on torrent.com. Yes, I said it. I went on websites and learned the shit. And I didn't, I learned based on videos. I've learned based off multimedia and things on the internet. So it's like you're giving more power to the people that need it. Like, imagine if we gave Einstein the ability to use ChatGPT or the ability to do certain things. All he needed was the creative outlet. There's so much we can kind of accomplish just in general.
Azariah, matter of fact, speaking of that, right now, or just this past week or so, because of all this, you got Tyler Perry halting his studio production when Sora came out, because it's like, just like Will was saying, wait a minute, now I can film this movie in shorter time. I don't need a filmographer. I don't need a makeup artist. I can make the artist look how I want to look, in a video. I can cut my expenditures in half, basically, and in a shorter time, and I can make more movies in a quicker time.
I have a second opinion on that, but please go ahead, Azariah.
No, I didn't know that. I think that is. I mean, when we talk about generative AI, we talk about emerging technology. That this is the new normal. This is what we're moving to. I think that the light bulb needs to go on and say, dude, is my job secure? I mean, what did the makeup artist say about that?
Exactly.
What did the director say about that?
Exactly.
Like Tyler Perry, the billionaire,
you hit it, bro.
That built the billions off the makeup artist 20 years straight, and the director 15 years straight is saying, you know what? I've been paying you X. I can X you out now and just go to Sora and create this new avenue and do more movies, back to your point, with less money. I mean, wow. Yeah. I think it goes back to us saying we're making the rich richer, right? And the poor poorer. And I mean, it's a lot to think about, man. I think what we should do, back to Will's point, is we need to be self-reflective, and we need to self-educate.
Yeah.
You went to Google and you literally didn't go crack open a hard book, but you said, I'm going to go on all of these resources, torrent or whatever the case may be. I'm going to educate myself. So I'm going to look at all of the information that's out there and, invest in myself. And man, I think we all need to do that. I think I need to do a better job at that.
Honestly. And you bring up a good point. It's like the billionaire getting richer off of this. And it's a call to action for us to really train people to really start to understand and learn how to do it, because right now it's a really good point where we're learning about how AI is transforming businesses, and AI is like really doing a lot when it comes to communal efforts and just overall giving us the enablement of power. And I don't agree with him. Hopefully he makes better freaking videos. I'm so tired of the same plot. And almost all of the Screen Actors Guild, they all have the same thing, especially in the tech movies or action movies. It's always a love interest. Someone has to fight some great evil.
Somebody
they overcome it, and then that's it. We're all good. But it's like, imagine someone who has great depth of story, but never had the chance or the opportunity to actually go forth with it. Bam, give them Sora. Now you got somebody who can give Tyler Perry and who's the other guy? I can't think. I'm not good with stories. I'm sorry. Yeah, give them a run for their money.
Yeah. And so, do you think it would, and like what as Araya was saying, it could create competition because now it's like, eventually everyone will have certain amount of access to this new technology. So, it could be, the kid in the basement, just creating stuff. He has the ability, to make his own movies too.
Yep.
As well. And now you don't need to necessarily travel. And again, going back to like spending money going to Dubai to shoot this perfect shot, that you only can do one season of the year, to get this moon right and all that. You can create that, all on your computer, basically.
I think it goes back to actually a more philosophical question than even that, right? Saying that now we all have the same resources. It could the argument be had that we don't have more Tyler Perrys because of those resources, right? Did Tyler Perry do something different intentionally than everybody else, right? I don't know Tyler Perry's upbringing. I don't know if he came from all of the resources in the world, if he had all the money in the world to be able to get to where he is. Yeah. But I'm saying that back to my point with Will, we just have lazy people that don't utilize the resources in front of them. And I think that some people still won't be like Tyler Perry because it's not a resource thing, but I think it's a them thing. Like they don't even go out there and self-educate. They don't even go out there to see what they can do with the new Sora or with the new Chat GPT. A lot of people are just dead where they're at, man. Absolutely. And I think Tyler Perry, I don't know the guy from a can of paint. He's a billionaire. Seen some of his same janky movies. Back to your point, but like I would hope that people would take advantage of those resources, but I feel like people still won't.
Yeah, you're right. And then one of the things that's kind of gets shunned away, or people don't necessarily like technology, is obviously the the older folks, the baby boomers. They shy away. I don't want to deal with this. This stuff. This world is moving too fast. I don't want to. I don't want to deal with it. What is this?
Business
I don't even want to use a cell phone. And so I was reading and I saw something else where, to kind of combat that and help that is, again, I think once ChatGPT started, it kind of something clicked where I feel like we're kind of lucky in a sense. Like we get to be in this age now where I feel like we're gonna get to experience like technology accelerate. Like it's about to move a lot faster in terms of development. And this country, Singapore, right now, they've already are trying to implement a way for dealing with Sora, where people who, just like what you said with educating yourself, people who are probably around the ages of 40 and up, like the people who don't necessarily have access or, they don't want to learn new things, they're going to be willing to give them free education on how to use, utilize Sora and actually help them instead of leaving them in desk because, me and Will were talking about this about how are you going to get your grandmother, your uncle, to be able to, keep up, basically, with technology and everything moving so quickly, because it's something that's scary for them, basically.
Absolutely. Yeah, I can't imagine my grandma using ChatGPT. Can you imagine no grandma using ChatGPT?
So you have to find no, absolutely not. So we'd have to find ways to show that it can basically, help them and make their lives easier. They
ain't gonna really care about that. They man, listen. Honestly, they're gonna probably have to appoint us to do it.
Oh, it's happening. I mean, I don't know about you. My grandma still called me over to change the channel. You know what I'm saying? Fix something over to the TV. So I let alone using a Chat GPT or Sora.
That's true. That's funny, but that's true.
They love to live in the past, man. Yeah, they love to. They come from an old, cool cut. I love our generation, man. We're so just forward looking, fluid, flexible, willing, creative. It's what? You trying to pay me X? I'm out of here. You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? Somebody else, back in the day, I got to retire at this job, work here for 30 years, 40 years. Nowadays, you send a wrong email, you may not have that employee anymore. You know what I mean? So
Or
it's
they
like,
gonna knock on your door.
you know what I
Right.
mean? And I don't know if that's necessarily a great thing or a bad thing, but I see benefits and cons in both. But yeah, man, like I said, I think our generation is it, dude. I think we cracked the code on living life to the fullest. I think we cracked the code on being curious and inquisitive
Yep.
to what's out there and what we're able to accomplish. And I think this generation is specifically living on, the sky is the limit. The sky is the floor. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like what can't we do type of thing.
You bring a good point because remember we were saying like how we've gone through so much in our lives. We went through 9/11. We went through Y2K,
9/11.
Yep.
We saw the
The-
first black president.
recession,
Man.
Recession.
2008,
We've been in a session, multiple.
multiple. Yeah.
Yeah.
Different genres, music, internet. Back when from the 90s to the 2000s, the
Man.
internet came out and cell phones and now AI. Well,
Man, everything you just said, I think, is one word, and it's resiliency.
yeah.
Man, we one heck of a resilient generation.
Is it weird that, I was thinking about this to myself one day. Like, is there a conspiracy behind how come, let's say things like the cell phone, for instance, why has the cell phone advanced so much, but yet other things have not to this day? Like, why do we have a cell phone that can do this and that, record videos, and just 40 years ago was a brick, and you can only call in certain frequencies at certain times of the day, and all this stuff. But yet, say, for example, we still have microwaves. What's the next thing past the microwave? Why do we still use refrigerators? These are things that 100 years ago, we still had a refrigerator, still had an ice box, that's basically like a refrigerator. Like, I can't even imagine in my head, like, what the next thing would be for that. But that hasn't really advanced as quickly as things that we use to communicate, I'll say, versus things that we use every day to advance. So if I could think off my top of my head, the furthest we got is an air fryer, from an oven.
Good point. Yeah.
It's like,
From an
but it's like
oven,
that's not a
microwave, yeah.
big jump as compared to going from the telegram to the the
Rotary
beep, beep,
phone,
beep, like
right.
that thing to the brick phone to the cell phone. That's a much shorter time span. Like, is there any like reason, do you think, for that, or is it just, like, do we care? Is it because we care so much about we're such social creatures that we push all our brain, like creativity to the phone or to the way that we communicate with each other?
Yeah. You want to say something?
No, you got it, man.
I was going to say the cell phone, I mean, the communication portion of things is definitely big because, if you think about like everything that exists, everything in commerce, we all communicate, we all connect with each other, and it's also improved. Like, even now we have this, fully fledged out podcast studio that I can't kind of get together. And it's evolved where we can even do that on our phones. Like, all we just got to do is hop on Discord. So it's just like the software also caught up with how the cell phone was, and the cell phone was necessary because everybody wanted to communicate with each other faster. So it's like, the innovation portion, I guess, when it comes to the stove or the microwave, is like, how can we make stuff faster, or how can we heat it better? And then I'll go into the book. One thing,
Shader's plug.
right? One thing I'll mention is, some of the advancements that I can see in other people in the science industry is ambient computing, where we combine the cell phone and the toaster oven or the stove. So how we have smart fridges.
Yeah.
We have a fridge where you can see TV and you can open it up and you can see what's going on, see the weather. Imagine I'm on the phone with you. The phone's on the other side of the room. We're communicating from the TV because it's got a microphone and a speaker.
Yep.
Then I go towards the kitchen, and then it's the toaster oven right there. Then you get a full 4K high quality output of what I'm saying, and I'm hearing what you're saying, input and output. But it's like the communication factor of those, the a factor of it still computing information. Because right now it's just a dumb thing. It just say, hey, this is what we're gonna do. This is what's happening. You click, 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 bam, and that's it. But now it's gonna be able to be a communication device, just like how we have whiteboards and we have touchscreen computers, touchscreen whiteboards where you actually can draw on there and it goes to the computer, or actually you got a computer drawable device where everybody can kind of contribute in. So I think, like you say, we're a communicative society and we like things fast. So what was the first thing we could have did better that could improve better in the cell phone or communicating with each other? More portability, faster resolution. The next thing in that, we still got more to actually go from there. You got holograms that could happen.
Yeah, holograms.
Like I said, the ambient portion of things. You have integration with the body. Remember, like Neuralink and shit, like the computer connecting with your phone or your body. And then, robotics integration. It's like so much that can happen. And I think that we're just touching the surface, even with the cell phone too.
Are you guys going to get the chip? If the chip comes out, are you going to get the chip?
No.
Hey, man, they might be paying. Be
that
first one.
It's an elective service, and it's mostly for disabled people. So, like, let's say you lost movability in your limbs. I forgot which one it is, like a L4, L5 or whatever. But the goal is to help those neurological connections so that you're able to, one, interface with the computers, but you can interface with your actual spine, because those points broke, and now there's no connectivity between upper and lower. So
that makes sense.
But no, that's interesting stuff, man, for sure.
I actually just tricked you guys because I wanted to talk about something else. Are you guys TikTokers at all? TikTokers?
I am actually really, really excited that they're planning to ban TikTok.
That's where I was going. Are we pro death of TikTok right now?
I actually just made my TikTok June of 2023.
I was
a newcomer. I was so like anti TikTok, like I would never do it. And then I saw like how you can like look up pretty cool restaurants when you travel off TikTok. I'm like, all right, this is probably kind of valuable. Let me go ahead and do it. But I've never me looking at these kids, man, put a phone up in front of a garage, just start dancing in front of a cell phone. I'm just like, man, come on. But I mean, I see the value add. It's value, you know what I'm saying? Looking up things, researching things. I think it's another good search engine. But yeah, I'm not pro TikTok.
So if they get rid of it tomorrow, you wouldn't lose no sleep.
I wouldn't lose an ounce, an inch, a second of sleep.
Interesting. It's gonna be a lot of like fight back, with that, but they're making it a political thing. We're gonna be hearing it a lot more, moving forward.
Well, I hear that they're even they're deprecating TikTok because they've stepped over so many legality issues. You know what I'm saying? Like there's certain things that you would say that they would just start popping up or something like that. They were like crossing the line too many like legal boundaries.
Yeah.
And at that point, you in jeopardy.
You're not immune.
Yeah.
And it's interesting stuff. We can definitely go into it. The surveillance portion of it, right? Like I think that TikTok, the main reason that we can foresee that the government really doesn't like is the surveillance portion of things. And when it goes back to the government's control over us, right? They want control over us, not no one else. So it's like they've even banned Chinese phones, like I think it was Huawei, and there was another one that they banned in government facilities because they've been proven to surveillance on the U.S. people. And these would be high-ranking officials that may or may not have Outlook on their phone, and they have emails of some pretty top secret ish. So imagine that getting in the hands of said person. overseas, different government agencies, and then that information get leaked. So that goes to say, like everybody's kind of against trying to get our information, and there's been whistleblowers, and TikTok's kind of in the middle of it because it's like, I mean, at a surface, it's like a harmless like tool for us, like you say, to have a platform. If you want to make some money, dance a little bit, look cute, whatever, you can do that. Make up tutorials, and that's the portion of things that we like and we enjoy. But then there's things on the underline that I feel that companies are utilizing, right? The data, like TikTok has some very various data points and data sets that they capture just with us either knowing or not knowing.
Yeah.
Plus, they're able to, filter out. And honestly, TikTok has one of the most advanced AI decision making technologies. Like, honestly, it either rivals or beats out Facebook.
Yeah.
To the point where, like, how we say, hey, I want to see cat videos. The next thing you see is a cat video.
Yeah.
But it even takes that further in advance. And, the decision making, like, just,
Algorithm.
just constant,
Crazy.
keep looking. So it's just like they want to have more control over that. They want us to, not buy into it as much. But, I'm in a different place because I'm like, the portion of things, like, all right, if it was just like in Instagram, in Snapchat, I wouldn't care about TikTok. But honestly, Instagram kind of sucks. Like it's Snapchat sucks out the water.
It's
I
done.
don't like it.
Snapchat's over with.
It's over. And then, Facebook's trying to do some shit on their app and it sucks. So it's just like TikTok was just on its own because even X is kind of whack.
Yeah, socials are falling off, man. I think it goes back to your first question about the phones, and you pretty much were saying like how the phone has been evolutionized and like the microwave isn't. And I think like things that are evolutionized isn't like universal, right? Evolution isn't universal. You know what I'm saying? Like a pine tree doesn't grow at the same speed as a bamboo tree.
Yeah.
So it's like Facebook has come a long way. I thought Facebook was going to be the next MySpace. It's been doing its thing. It's been growing and keeping up to speed with X, Y, and Z. And things like Snapchat, it isn't able to keep up. It had a good 10-year run.
Yeah.
But it's just like it's falling off the way. So I think like it just goes to show, man, things are going to continue to come and go away. But I think as far as like the new like evolutionary things like X and what is it now, Threads on Instagram, like so we keep just trying stuff. We throwing stuff at the wall, man, to see what stick. And honestly, I see the same story, just different platform. But it comes down to us to utilize it, I guess.
Yeah. People have spoken.
They all don't want that they want that sense of control. Like I said, it's very political. China and all that stuff. Actually, related to the TikTok thing is we could talk about like cars, which is China right now is making affordable EVs. Right now, like Tesla or whatever, but they're in Europe and they want to obviously eventually sell their car. I forgot what it's called, but it's like basically the half a price of a Tesla. Something affordable up downwards of like 10,000, 10 grand.
Oh man!
Basically for an electric car, good on, good charge range. Europe is already like utilizing, but like America's kind of like, I'm not too sure because it's like, oh, you're putting your firmware and stuff
surveillance,
and you're gonna be in there listening to my car conversation, and, all that. So we're kind of pushing away from, but.
And even the durability and the reliability of it, right? Like, I don't mean a stereotype, but infrastructure, battery wise, like Chinese made products usually aren't they aren't durable, right? Like, imagine you're in a hot desert and then that shit start burning, or you're in the cold and it just starts like sputtering and it just dies. Nah. So it's like, can you imagine that? Like, that's part of it, but also I agree too, like the surveillance thing, and you're in there and they're like, we're talking about some really stuff. Good.
And and it made me wonder because when we were me and Will and we went to the past auto show in Chicago. Was that last month? And surprisingly, I can't believe, when Corey was there too, he asked a actual good question. I was like,
Sorry,
I
Corey.
was like, are you sure? I didn't ask that. I don't know if you asked that. But he actually
Corey.
made me think, and he asked one of the product specialists there, what's going to go on with them implementing all this new technology, because we were by Chevy, and there was a car that they had that would scan your eyes, to make sure that you're looking at the road, and it would drive the car for you. But as soon as you look away for more than, let's say, 8 seconds or whatever time, it would alert you to take back control of the wheel, because it would have an autopilot mode, but you still need to be like looking on the road. You still need to pay attention. You can't be texting, things like that. And so he was asking, with all that, new firmware and technology, like who's, what's the security like for that car? Because you could imagine the horror of like someone hacking into your car and like driving it where it wants to go, or because it's a computer at the end of the day. A car is a computer now. All cars that are driving right now, basically, unless it's 60s or older or something like that, has some type of a computer in it. And he asked, it was like, what's the firewall like? Like what's gonna be able to defend against that? Because that could be catastrophe. Because obviously the goal is to go and move to automation where cars self-drive themselves, where you don't need to drive, and they're pushing this safety aspect of like, hey, your grandma who probably shouldn't be driving anymore because she's 89, trying to drive to the grocery store and
Stop it, Grandma.
hitting little Jimmy, something like that.
I didn't see him, baby.
And you're preventing that.
Dang,
whereas
Jimmy.
like the selfless driverless
a
cars,
rule.
picking people up. That's what Uber eventually wants to do. They're mapping out all these routes that these Uber drivers are doing just to slowly replace them with eventual like self-driving cars that are just taking all the road maps to get the best possible outcome, the best route, best scenario. Okay, we know that every day at 12:30 in the Chicago Loop, it takes about 15 minutes to get through. Oh, well, the best thing is go to Lower Wacker, where your GPS goes out, but the car will remember. The car, car will get you there. Self-driving, but yeah, he asked, and I'm like, man, that's true.
That's a good question.
It made me think about that.
It's a great
Like,
question.
yeah, that would worry me a little bit.
No, it's crazy, man.
I'm scared.
Thinking about it, shit. Like Tesla kind of go into the water all the time with their stuff because it's literally a cell phone. And I mean, I haven't heard of like someone hacking it, thank God. But like, yeah, imagine like you're like it's gonna get to the point where there's no driver's seat. You tell it, hey, go here, and that's where they want you to do. But like, imagine that getting hacked, like the decision engine and all of that stuff getting hacked. So that's an interesting concern. Unfortunately, the salesperson probably didn't know that answer. But,
No, he didn't. It was like, oh,
like,
let me get
he's
my
trying to sell,
manager.
yeah.
And then it also makes me think about like, because they're implementing this, and this you talked to me before about like they had this technology like a long time ago, but now they're like really trying to use it to their advantage. Can you guys imagine how embarrassing this is if you take your you take your girl on a date, yeah, I'm driving in my Camaro. Yeah, girl, yeah, where you want to go, blah, blah, blah. And you get to your spot, get to your nice restaurant, and you come out and your car is gone. And it's not that it's stolen.
It's hacked.
It's just that, and not even that, it's just that you didn't make your car payment, sir. So the company is able to flip a switch and have that car drive itself back to the dealership.
Wow.
Imagine that.
Oh,
Oops.
man.
They can do that now.
Yeah. Dang.
I'm second guessing from getting a car like that now.
Did you pay your bill? I thought I did.
I thought I did.
Yeah, man, that's crazy. The repo man, go and give him a run for his buck.
Don't need the repo man anymore.
Again,
You don't got to risk his life,
Automation
anymore.
taking jobs again.
Yeah, that's another avenue. That's another trend.
So,
But yeah, I think that just about covers everything, guys. If you guys don't have anything to...
Man, I just want to say thanks for inviting me out, man. Aaron, the executive, Will, the master. I had a pleasure, man. This is dope. Love what y'all doing. Love this episode. Can't wait to see where it go.
Yeah, and many more. Stay tuned, guys, for more channels.
I ain't say nothing.
Oh, yeah, I forgot he's here. Sorry. Go ahead, Will. Sure.
All right, guys. I'll see you later. Azariah, where can we find you?
Oh man, you can find me at AZZY Ezzy_AH3 on Instagram. That's my main platform. I'm going further away from social media, but that's what you can find me. I'm still on Instagram.
All right.
What's your
sure you
OnlyFans account?
Oh man,
OnlyFans.
X22X221. Since you went there.
1001001.
At Amazon.
Can you imagine? Like you have an OnlyFans account, right? But it's on your corporate work email.
Oh man,
Bro.
So OnlyFans isn't free and is getting paid on some type of corporate card.
Damn. Y'all hear that, y'all? Ain't that true?
I'm lying, man. Andy Jassy is such a joke. I'm not serious.
That's a topic for another discussion.
It's a topic for another discussion. Next time episode. All right, guys. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Let me know how the video went for you. Add in your any input takes, and let us know what type of new topics you want to hear moving forward. Thank you, guys. See ya.
Peace.
Ooh, that was cool. Peace.
Okay, fellas.
All right, now let's talk about these
Shaved or unshaved?
Shaved or unshaved? No.
Geographical location and occupation. She lied to me.